help me reconcile these two things. The Nuggets are very proud of the fact that they finished first in the Western Conference for the first time in franchise history. And this is a franchise through the Melo days and before that, the Alex English days. They have accomplishments. You know what I mean? They're not a throwaway franchise by any means. So that is very notable, very impressive. They also wound up, and I think I have this right, with a mere 4 wins improvement from last season when they had no Jamal Murray, no Michael Porter Jr., and when a big part of the Nikola Jokic's MVP candidacy, in my opinion, was like what he was able to do with that team without those guys. If I were them, it's a little troubling that the addition of those two all-star caliber, that's not a great way of putting it, but like high-level players, that the addition resulted
Max
in
players.
4.
The two max players.
There you go. Let's just go to the money. Max players led to 4 more wins. Where does that leave you as we try to figure out what they're going to do in this postseason?
I love the context. I love the idea of looking back at last season and comparing who Joker had available around him. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. Prior to the All-Star break, team was 41-18, second best record in the NBA, number 1 offense in the NBA, pretty good defense. They were 13th overall, so a defense that you could feel okay about going into the playoffs. After the All-Star break, 12-11, a very average offense, a very average defense, and I think they went 2-5 over these last 7 games. Granted, you didn't have Joker for some of them just due to this recent calf injury, but it's hard. It's a recency bias thing. You have this, great start to the season. They've been in first place for 4+ months. I don't know how you can poke holes in that or undermine that. Since mid-December, they've been the number 1 seed in the West. And then you kind of back
Fred
into
knows
the
how. I'm just going to throw this in. Fred knows how, because he mentioned to me off air, it is depending on your glasses half full or glasses half empty attitude, like it is a mediocre Western Conference this year, or a parity-filled Western Conference. I think that's where people will poke holes.
That's totally fine. I buy that. It's just a little unnerving when you end the season with such a downswing. With Jamal has a thumb thing that's been lingering. Joker's calf. Then you have some just awful losses. They lost at San Antonio. They lost at Houston the other night, in a night that probably had a big impact on MVP voters. There's just they just kind of left you with this depressing taste in their mouth, which, for a team that has never made the NBA Finals before, there are going to be skeptics and doubters until you prove it. You need to break through that ceiling. And now the fact that they're healthy, the fact they have all their horses around them, Joker pun intended, they have no excuses not to realize how good they can be. And if they don't, changes could be afoot. I'm talking like serious fundamental changes, at personnel, at coaching. It's just like, this is an all-time player,
Singer,
a generational
to steal
player.
our favorite way of phrasing it, what is the spice level on possible changes? Spice level 1 to 10. What are we talking here?
It totally depends. It totally depends when they go out. If they go out in the first round, spice level is very high. If it's a competitive second round series against the Suns, then you're going to have to look at context clues. But I always talk about this, man. Michael Malone is in his 8th year as the coach of the Denver Nuggets, the 4th longest tenured coach in the NBA. Calvin Booth is in his 1st year. There are one guy has been entrenched in this role. Another guy is coming into this role. There are dynamics that need to be figured out there. And so, you put that under the spotlight and the microcosm of a postseason series with a 2-time MVP, maybe a 3-time MVP. That's a lot of pressure building, not to mention this is 2+ years in the making, because they haven't had a healthy Jamal Murray for the playoffs in 2 consecutive years. And Michael Porter hasn't been right for a couple of those postseasons too. So now there's no excuses. In my opinion, it's put up or shut up time.